Hey, everybody, it's Honesty, and this is the Right Honesty podcast. We have a special guest that I'm going to try to remember to not put in the title, so it's an actual surprise. So, like we like to do and make the folks wake, AG, how you doing?
I am excellent on this glorious MLK Day.
I am excellent on this glorious MLK Day as well. I guess without further ado, that wasn't much of a delay, but I'm super excited. We have the one and the only Ashley Nicole on the podcast today. Ashley Nicole, how are you doing?
I'm excellent on this MLK Day as well.
I'm so glad you're here.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
We were just talking about this. So what y'all don't know, you may know, I don't know if you know, is that we recorded with Ashley Nicole probably a year ago at this point, or not too far off a year. And the audio chewed it up. The gremlins in the system got to the audio. And so it wasn't good. But now we're like able to get back to it, especially on the precipice of a new project coming out. So I'm hype. I'm hype.
Me too. I mean, I think this is a first for us, right? Where we're talking to an author and they have something dropping quickly.
Yeah.
Hint, Ashley Nicole, because now we're putting it in the show. So
it has to come out. It's going.
Right. So I actually have to admit I was dishonest just a few moments ago because I said that the pre-release thoughts would be at the end, but now I actually want them to be now. Now I might edit them to the end, but now I actually want to hear about the project, especially since you're like still touching it. So tell us, I guess, tell us about it and kind of what are your pre-release musings?
Hold on. Before she starts, exclusive.
Right, I'm gonna find some
exclusive.
What did I do on BLS? I gotta find some
exactly some sound effects. Now she can go.
The book that's coming out, it's called I Want to Be Down. It was supposed to come out last year, but things happened.
Oh wait, this is the song title series.
Yes, because I was trying to end it in 2022, and it didn't work. But this will be the last song title series.
Okay, and is this an homage to the Brandy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So like the end of 2019, in 2019, I think I wrote The Closer I Get to You, and then I Didn't Mean to Fall in Love came out. And I was like, I kind of like the idea of writing something with a song title and kind of putting the book around it. And so 2021 was supposed to be this full 12 book year of, songs, books named after songs. And then I was going to end the year like, this is my album, quote unquote, but it didn't work like that. So I stretched it to 2022 and now I'm tired of it. I'm done. So I Want to Be Down. It came to me after watching a TikTok, because at this point, TikTok is where my ideas come from. Two girls went to a party to see Brent Faiyaz. One was very interested in him and the other one wasn't. And of course, he decided he liked the one who wasn't interested. The two of them fought and whatever. So I'm like, the idea of that would be good. So that's exactly what I did. My main characters are Dash and Cecily. Dash came out years and years ago. He used to be in a rap group, and the group has since disbanded. And the group is doing a reunion tour after like 10 years. And he runs into Cecily at a party. Her friend was going there, with the sole intent to try to get him. And of course, he looks at Cecily, and it's the cutest little story. I absolutely love it. There's a little drama, a little bit, not too much. There might be a little bit of tears when you read it, but it definitely is not a Gravity.
It's funny that you mentioned Gravity, because that is the only one of your books I have not read yet. And I tell you why, child, because I love you to the moon and back, but I tell you why. Because when it came out, you had folks renting their clothes and bawling out and gnashing of teeth and all kind of other biblical forms of mourning while saying how amazing the book was, but that you had ripped their hearts out. So HP and I were like, child,
I ain't strong enough. The 2022 was not kind to me.
Yeah, life been life. We gonna have to wait on Gravity. But Sean Chadwick, in particular, one of our sister readers, has periodically, she swings into our 3-person messenger and says, have y'all read Gravity yet?
Yeah, I love Sean.
Isn't she
I love
wonderful?
her.
She is
Me
wonderful.
and her fight all the time, but there's certain books I put out, and Sean will message me like, "All right, we're gonna put our little beef aside or whatever." I love this. This is what you need to do. You done found your spot. I love her.
Well,
Yeah.
I just wanted to give that disclaimer because you needed to know and be chastised for the emotional distress that you apparently inflicted on people.
Yeah.
And I reserve the right once I read Gravity to also find you and cry on your doorstep if that is what the spirit moves me.
I'll be waiting.
Okay.
Y'all already know I'm an active fool, so it's no point in me saying it. So but it's gonna be all over the internet.
So you said this came to you. What was the TikTok that you saw? What was the TikTok about specifically that then prompted this story idea? I'm just curious.
The two friends who went to see Brent Fayez.
Oh, okay. And
no, that's not my story. That was them. It was just a quick clip. They went, and then the caption was, "When you go with your friend to see Brent Fayez, and she turns on you and fights you because he doesn't want her." So they ended up fighting pretty bad in the end, but I didn't do that.
Oh, okay.
So did they think one of them was gonna take him home, or what?
I guess that first one thought, just because she said, "I'm going to get him, he's gonna be mine," and he wasn't.
So, because her mama told her, you set a goal,
right?
You go achieve it. And she thought that applied no matter what.
Right. So that set the framework for I Want to Be Down, and then I just filled it in.
Okay. Well, but my appetite is wet now, child.
So it is. I'm excited.
Don't make us wait too much longer now.
I won't. I promise.
What's your favorite thing about it?
There's a lightness to him. He's been through some things. He has a little bit of a past, and there's hurt, but it doesn't. It kind of guides his life, and I know that Pastor HP, when she reads it, she's gonna be like, "What you mean?" It kind of guides his life, but outwardly, he is just this really light, sweet, loving person. And I really enjoy him. I enjoy her too, but I really like when I'm in his voice specifically.
And how long did it take you from sort of seeing the clip, right, and the idea beginning to germinate to now? How long was this process?
I saw that TikTok months ago. Now this wasn't, I didn't start writing this right after Take Me to Church. I have been hopping from project to project to project for months trying to find something that stuck.
Okay.
And I have so many projects that I started and I got to a place and I'm just like, this isn't gonna work. And then it was like, actually sit down, shut up, write this. Don't tell yourself it's not gonna work. Write this. You want to write this. It kept coming back to me. It kept coming back to me. So I started writing it on December 7th. And then I walked away for about a week and a half, and then I came back. So maybe 4 weeks.
Okay.
And what was the not gonna work part? Even if you don't tell us sort of what the plot point was, but kind of what was your process for getting past that?
But that it's not gonna work is something I go through with every single project. It's not just this one, it's not just the ones in the last one. For some reason, when I hit 25,000 words,
me and you together,
it doesn't make sense.
It's a magic number.
Sudden, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know where this story is going. Do I know these characters? So it comes out of nowhere on every project. And for this one, I had it outlined to a T. I knew it from start to finish. So I just had to sit there and say, Ashley, you know the story. What do you mean you're going to stop the story? You're absolutely not going to stop the story. Everything you need is here. I think it was probably more like restlessness than me actually not knowing the story. So I had to be like, just sit here and do it. And once I really got into my flow, it just blossomed.
See, what I was going to ask is because I noticed, Ashley, you had posted this will be your 50th 50.
Yeah.
Book, which is bravo, child. Because I mean, good grief, half a century mark. But just hearing you talk about the fact that you hit this temporary wall in every project, I'd be curious to know, coming up with 50 about to drop, what are some of like your key lessons learned now for yourself? Is that one of them, that like when you hit that, now you know you have to give yourself the grace, truly step back, give it a couple of days and come back to it? Or, you know, what are some of the other things that you've realized now after doing this 50 times?
Yeah, well, that for sure is the biggest one.
Okay.
I think a more specific part of that is I have to get out of my own way. So, but other than that, I don't have a problem. Writing it really is something that I love to do, and it's so free. You know, you hear that if you love what you do, it's never work. It's not work. It's editing. That's the work. Let me say that. I hate that. But the writing, it's so good to me. Just as much as y'all read it and you love it and it opens up, it does the same thing for me, because I started writing because there were things that I wanted to read, and instead of going in reviews and saying you should write it like this, you should write it like that, I'm like, well, I can do it. So I truly enjoy it. So other than that, that's really all of the barriers that I have outside of that's during the writing process. Before it, there's a moment between every project where I don't even know where I'm going next. I don't know what the idea is, because this industry is so saturated with all these amazing authors. Sometimes I get it into my head that, if I do something, somebody will say, oh, you're copying this person, or you're copying that person. And I also have to, again, get out of my own way and just realize that regardless of if it is the same framework, the story is never going to be different, because that person isn't me and I'm not this other person.
Right.
So that.
As far as I'm concerned, because my opinion is the only one that matters, but you have a very distinct voice.
Thank you.
You have a very distinct voice and style, and I know that is an opinion that is shared by others who read your stuff, and some articulate it, I think, better than others or more clearly than others. But what comes back all the time is that you just have a distinct voice. You don't sound like, right? I don't feel like I'm reading a insert name of another, indie Black author who I love. You have a distinct and child, the comedy is just
always.
Some of these one-liners and these zingers, child, I'm like, what is going on in this woman's head? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? I might make a request that Mr. Ali, just saying, you should feel free to have Mr. Ali take another road trip and pop up in other people's stories as well, because, Old Crow entertainment is always welcome.
I've never thought about that, but that is actually a good idea.
I only mentioned that because Take Me to Church has become one of my favorite rereads of yours as well. Elevate Me is another one. Rook and Zenata are another one.
God, I love Rook and Zenata.
But there was something mentioned in Take Me to Church. I guess one of the grandkids or one of his kids had taken him on a road trip. Yes. So he had been gone when something particular popped off, and then he came back and was, kind of giving his opinion. That's what made me think of it. I said, okay, Mr. Ali had took his sassiness on the road, child. Out there spreading his little, cutting one-liners to the masses.
Right.
But the comedy is such a brilliant part of your work, I would say, in addition to these fantastic characters and great storylines. But we know we are guaranteed to get some cackle out loud moments from
Absolutely,
you. Yeah. In every story.
Thank you. For the project that's coming, what's the scene? You don't have to give us full details, but is there a scene that was the hardest for you, or do you have a favorite scene?
It's coming up. It literally will be in the epilogue. There's something that I'm saving until the epilogue, and I had no plans to even do it, but it came to me yesterday early in the morning before I got up, and I was in my bed and I was crying thinking about this scene. So yes, it is at the end of the scene, but I don't want to say, because I want to just
No, don't say I'm into it. Okay, the epilogue. I'll be ready.
Have Kleenex nearby. Okay, good to know. I am super excited. This is like a gift. It's like a gift at the beginning of the year.
Right. So then now I know I'm gonna have to stop everything I'm doing.
Absolutely not.
so that I could immediately jump in and get to what's going on. So back to Adrian's point that this is gonna be your 50th project. I know you didn't start out writing full time, but one of the things that we're interested in, and we've talked to at least one other author about this, we want to hear your take. So what was the transition like from writing as a hobby and then writing as your part-time business and then writing as your full-time job? How did that go for you?
So I came across CCJ stuff, and I want to say the end of 2014, and I gobbled up everything she was reading, and I noticed that she was publishing really, really quickly. I don't think I'd ever heard of indie publishing before that. My experience with traditional publishing was, they put something out barely once a year, sometimes twice, and I didn't want that. I'd given up on the idea of ever publishing because of an experience with the publishing house when I was like 18 or 19. But I talked to her, we talked about how the process and all that. And I'm like, okay, well, let me just see. You Make Me Better was sitting half finished for like 5 years. But I would go back to it every week because I loved Nathan and Callie. I was obsessed with Mean Men back then, and I should probably talk to my therapist about it. But I kept going back to it. So I'm like, okay, what without starting, because I wasn't planning on starting a career, without starting something new from scratch, because I wasn't sure if I knew how to do that. How about I finish You Make Me Better, and then we'll publish it, and that'll be that. And then I can say I published something. That happened, and the reception was way bigger than I could have ever expected. It was wild to me. But before I even published You Make Me Better, I had the idea for One More Night. And so it was like, okay, I'm working full time at night. I'm writing. I love it. It's kind of something to take my mind off, my regular day to day. So if the ideas keep coming, I'll keep doing it. So I did it. And then in June, I went to the first Indie Love. And one of the readers, Tamara, came up to me and, she'd asked if I was doing it full time. I'm like, no. It's just kind of a side thing. And she said how she had just quit her job and started a business. And it started something in me. My mother immediately was like, absolutely not, Ashley. You can still write, but keep your job. Okay. So secretly, it became my goal to do it full time. But at that point, I was only 6 or 7 months in. So I knew I needed to build up a readership. But I still wasn't sure if I could do it. I live in Connecticut. Cost of living is ridiculous. I was always sensible, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't shooting myself in the foot. So I said, let me give myself a year, and I'll save up, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll see if it works. So a year came, and I probably could have quit then, but I wasn't ready. I was scared. And I wasn't ready. So I think it was probably another year and a half. And then things started changing at my job. Different directors every other month, different managers, all this stuff. And, I just got tired of it. And finally I'm like, I'm quitting this year, January 1st. My readership had grown. There was nothing holding me back but me. And my mom still in my ear, she's practical, and I appreciate that. It wasn't hateful. It was just actually, I know you can do it, but just maybe wait a little longer. And I'm like, Ma, I can't. If I don't do it today, I'm not going to do it tomorrow. I'm not going to do it next year. I'm still going to be waiting to do it in 5 years. So I turned in my notice, and I went back to work so that I could get that holiday pay on January 1st. I went back on, I think the 4th that year. I worked one day, and then I walked out of there, and I just hit my 4-year mark, and it's going great. I love it. The freedom, it is amazing. Because I'm doing this by myself. You know what I mean? It's not I'm working for somebody else or I'm under a publishing company and they're doing this and they're doing that. I'm every aspect of it, from its conception to writing it to editing it to the cover. Everything is me. This is my baby.
Yes.
This whole thing. And I just love that.
I appreciate you just sharing that it was someone, a reader, right, kind of helping to plant that seed, but then it had to be watered, right? It had to be nurtured. You had, mama in the ear, and I appreciate you making the distinction. She wasn't being negative, she was being practical, but you also then had to make your own decision about this is your life, what is best for you, and planned. The planning part, definitely resonates with me, because I'm type A, and it's like, well, what are we doing? We can't just just leap off the cliff, off faith. Some people can do that, but I think what you laid out, it sounds very relatable in terms of the fear, in terms of I need to give myself a deadline. I need to, and then you were like, let me see after the first year, and you weren't ready. But then finally reaching the point, because of external circumstances, and that happens, right, where your environment starts becoming less conducive for you to remain comfortable, but more conducive for you to make the move you need to make.
Exactly.
So that's fantastic. And so let me ask you, in terms of when you made the move and now you were writing full time, did you set out and say, okay, so I need to be publishing X number of books a year, or it continued to be, we're going to see how this plays out. The goal will be, if I can get 3 out, that's great. Or was it more concrete? And you said, I need to publish X number each year in order to, make this work for me.
Yeah. Every December, I kind of sit down and plan out the next year.
Okay.
I think 19, I had 9. I would like to publish monthly, but sometimes, again, I get in my own way or something happens and it doesn't work. So I go into every year with the idea that I'm going to publish at minimum 12 books, I think. So 19, I went through it, and I think I only published 3 novels that year, and that matters because the other 6 were all novellas. So it's unbalanced. And then we had the crazy 21 of 2020, and that was not planned. I just, there was something behind me and it was pushing me, and I could not stop myself from writing. And that was such an amazing year, not even because of all the releases, just because of all the writing. I was in a zone, and it was the best feeling ever.
Okay.
So after 2020, excuse me, I set my goals a little too high, because I'm like, well, I did this last year. And
how many did you publish in 2020?
2024. I did Smash Into You, You're the One I Want, You're the Only One I Want, Just a Friend, and Gravity. And the first ones were all before July, and Gravity didn't come out until the last day of the year. So there was a stretch where I was a little stressed. And that's the same thing that happened this year since Taking Me to Church. Well, not Taking Me to Church. That wasn't my last release. Hotbox in August. You get stressed. And honestly, I don't know if you get like this, but there comes a point where you're like, do I know how to do this still?
Oh, every time.
Yeah, it's like, I forgot. And I know I can do it, but for some reason, it just, nothing's clicking. So only 4 in 2020, and I still managed to do what I had to do. I didn't get homeless, so it's working.
Amen.
And then no, that was 2021. So 2022, again, I went into it. I lowered them, but again, it was, I want to put out something every month. I know if it comes out monthly, I'm not worried about anything. Didn't happen. Let's Get Married came out first, and then I did the short, The Fixed, the fix. And then what was it? No, Let's Get Married. And then Take Me to Church came out. And Take Me to Church was a monster in and of itself. Take Me to Church was not supposed to happen, first off. It was Dion, when I did Bless Your Heart, Dion was nobody. He was the pastor, and I'm like, I'm not doing a pastor. I'm not religious enough to handle that with the reverence that it deserves. But while I was writing Let's Get Married, Dion just started looking better and better. He grew bigger and bigger, and it was like, I have to do it. And I think I was planning for Dion to be half the size that he was. By the time I was at like 60,000, I was starting to get aggravated. I'm texting my sister. I'm serious. I'm texting my sister every day. I think I got maybe 10 more thousand. I want it to be done. And then I turn around and it's 95,000 words. And I'm like, what? This is the book that I knew was going to be small. Yeah.
It doesn't feel that long.
It doesn't.
It is a monster. For me. There are some authors who write that 150K. That ain't Ashley. But it was a monster. And I was tired after that. My God, you want to talk about tired. So I took a break. Some of it was intended, most of it was not. Then Hotbox came out in August, and I got to maybe Thanksgiving, and I'm like, okay, let me see if I can put out a little Thanksgiving short, just kind of a palate cleanser. It didn't happen. And then I went back to this, and I kept going back to this. I know a book is gonna work when I can't stop thinking about it. When I'm going to sleep and the scenarios are coming, I'm waking up, the scenarios are coming. I sit down to write, the scenarios are gone. But the second I get up, they come back. When I can't stop thinking about it, I know it's gonna work.
Can we go back to Take Me to Church for a second? Because it is very interesting to hear you say, just the hesitant that Dion, it's not like he was jumping out at you from the very beginning. And then, being unsure that you could, present him, the fact that he was a pastor with the appropriate reference, because I thought you did a masterful job in presenting Dion. Like Dion, truly, he was so real. Right. He was not so high in the sky, Jesus on the main line, that he felt unrelatable, but his discipline, the commitment to the commitment he made, was presented so well that Dion, I believed him, right? I believed him, and I liked him, and I was rooting for him. And he felt approachable and relatable, right? Because, if I think about, like, my mom was one of those believers that, like, she was so high up there that it was like, okay, we're never going to get to that level of, and that's okay. Dion, for all of his being a pastor, that was not how he presented. So whatever you did to get past your hesitancy, child, it worked, because and the fact that, and HP and I were talking about this over the weekend, because I was just, revisiting them again, probably for actually the third or fourth time since you put it out. I was revisiting Dion and Naraya, and just talking about how, yes, you said it was a slow burn, right? And yes, the fact that he was a pastor, we knew it wasn't going to be no bumping and grinding until they said I do. But it was their chemistry was so potent and delicious, and it just jumped off the page. And considering that HP, was it last week that we were complaining about, because we're both going to hell, even though HP doesn't believe in hell anymore.
No, I'm not going.
Because we're both complaining about Christian romance and how angry we get when we stumble onto a book that ain't got no sex.
Yeah, because I didn't know that the Christian romance, that you can't have sex in there. That ain't never gonna work.
Oh yeah, I started writing with a girl who wrote it, and I think I read hers, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yes, right. So the fact
when they gonna do it?
Right. The fact that it's well past 80%, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Before they get physical, child, it's forever and a day before they actually, like, kiss with tongue.
Right.
And yet their chemistry And their attraction for each other was so electric that I was not like, I was waiting because I was like, oh child, it's gonna make your head blow off, like it's gonna be good. But I wasn't reading like, child, if they don't get a tongue kiss in here, I'm closing this book. It wasn't like that. And you made that seem very effortless, very seamless. Like I was reading along like, as opposed to like curling my lip.
Right. Get to it.
I'm not going to take for granted that that was as easy as it felt in reading it. But it came across real easy. So again, hats off to you for that. Thank
you.
Beautifully done. Just beautifully done.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my current AshleyNicole go-to reread. Like if I'm looking for something to read to whatever, I'm doing, passing the time or whatever, I'm going to Take Me to Church. And I was just telling AG, I guess it was yesterday, that my favorite scenes from Take Me to Church are not sex scenes. It's the tension that is so sweet to me. Like when what did I say? Oh, the scene where she says, I need to know that you want me the way that I want you.
Yes.
I was just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when they go swimming and he's like, but God is faithful, and his brother is
Amen.
like, you're using the wrong scripture. You're using the wrong scripture, beloved.
He said, you better get Galatians up in here.
Right.
Or Ephesians.
So I know you said, yes, I know you said that you didn't anticipate writing Dion, but what about him spoke to you as his character got larger? How like what made him so interesting?
I love the way he was with his brothers. And I grew up in Baptist church as well. And let me just say that the Kimbals are a real family. Like I didn't make any of that up.
Oh wait, I believe it. I mean,
yes. And I grew up with a pastor like that, who would, after his divorce, literally in front of the whole church, as they're walking around to get tithes, my mom is walking, and he's like, that's the one that I want, but she won't act right. In front of the church.
I thought it was worship. Okay.
Right. So, and then as I grew, I kind of grew away from the church, but then I decided I wanted to go back. But what was important to me was to find a church with a young pastor, one who I could understand. And I found that. And so when Dion got more personality in Let's Get Married, it was like, well, maybe he'd be fun to write. I just would have to be careful. And I went into it saying, I have to be careful. I don't want to disrespect anybody. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to be flippant about religion because it is such a big deal. But he just, the joking with Zach when the pictures first came out and Let's Get Married, Dion being like, if you wanted the pastor, you would have met me at the church. So I felt like it would be kind of a little bit of a challenge to show the pastor and the man who is a man, but he is on the straight and narrow path, and he really does walk this walk. But once you get past that barrier of marriage, he is a hungry, carnal human being just like the rest of us.
Yes, child. He was tearing her up, honey, and I loved it.
And it was like the whole time I was writing it, I was holding back. It's like getting ready to start a race, and the second she woke up that morning in Barbados, I was like, I can be as nasty as I want. This man can be as disgusting as he wants, because this woman is his in the eyes of everybody.
Yes.
They were super sweet.
They were super sweet. And it's funny that you say that, because Ashley, we've spoken to Love Belvin about her Ezra series, and some of the reaction that she got with people having very strong opinions about, and she had said that there were those who thought that she was writing about a pastor being a hoe, like Bose Kimball, basically. Now that I think about it, now that you say that, that was, people were assuming that's where she was going.
It's so common.
Exactly. And she was like, no, I would, I'm a woman of faith. I wouldn't do that. That's not even where I'm coming at it from. But there, we know, like Kimberly Roby Lawson, right? She has a whole series about a misbehaving pastor, and I haven't read them all, but I'm familiar enough to know, that's one of her very popular series. So that's also, there's a segment of readers who enjoy that too.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go there, right? In order to make the story interesting and engaging. And I think Take Me to Church was a perfect example of that, because you really did present Dion the way he behaved, the way it's like, look, if you're gonna be a pastor, can you at least follow the rules of the road? I mean, please, like, you chose this, right? Like, you could have been a garbage man, you could have been an electrician, like, you didn't have to,
any other
become
thing
a man
than this thing.
Seriously, you didn't have to become a man of the cloth, but if you're gonna do it. But let me ask you this, because so Dion started getting larger for you, but then where did Naraya come from?
I needed Dion to have a challenge. I didn't want it to just be somebody in his congregation. And what woman in the church, even if it's his church, would challenge a pastor? Somebody who doesn't want a pastor. And why would you want a pastor? Because of the things she's seen. And I knew, like, the second I decided on him, it was like, it has to be somebody who outright will not marry a pastor. And initially I planned for her to be a little bit more contentious. Like when things first started changing, she was supposed to turn on him and be like, no, you're just like my father. But I didn't want that, because it didn't feel genuine to who they were.
I'm glad that didn't happen, because he didn't show it. He didn't show that.
Right. And I much more prefer kind of the organic, her just sitting back watching him and learning him without him ever having to say anything. She saw these things. So it wasn't somebody in her ear saying, no, Pastor's good, Pastor's amazing. I see it myself.
Yes. And she kept waiting, right? Because she says several times to herself, she kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. She's like, it's only a matter of time. He got to be doing something. No, that's amazing, because now that you say that, him needing someone to challenge him, and then of course her having this very specific baggage, it made sense, because she wasn't like, remember when the first time she and Chelsea go to the church for an in-person service, and they're both like, well, okay, all right. Up close and personal, he's even better looking. But she was just kind of like, that was where it stopped for her, right? She was not, then falling out in the pew and talking about needing hands laid on her, because it was like, Dion's a good looking man and he's a talented preacher. But there must be something about him, right? Which is why she wasn't, like, she was impressed, but she wasn't catching the vapors like the rest of the church. So that makes sense. And I'm also glad that you didn't have her, that it didn't have to become contentious for her to be like, because when he broaches the subject of them dating, right? And she's like,
it was so cute.
She said, let me think about it. He's like, what? She said, no. Let me think about it. I'm gonna get back to you. Let me think about it. And then, went through that whole conversation between her and her bestie, and that was a very sweet relationship. There wasn't a ton of it, but like, we got just enough, right? Because Chelsea was the only, Chelsea and Uncle Lars and Aunt Harleen, I think was his wife's name. Like, she literally, her circle, her village was 3 people.
Right. Very small.
That was
village.
it. She had a very small village, but it had clearly given her what she needed. But they were super cute. Even the conversation about when he says, well, I want to talk to you about a question that I'm moving towards asking you, and I want to I want to give you time to think about how you would answer. She's like, are you proposing to propose? Like, is that
which was the cutest thing to me?
But it was just so like, it didn't seem corny. You were kind of like, yeah, right. He would want to, because it's less than a year since they've even known each other, and he didn't want to scare her off and whatnot. It was just so beautifully done. Like, so what? Like, I hope that everything you had in your head came onto the paper, because that's how it seemed, right?
It absolutely did. It
wonderful.
Really did.
That's fantastic, because it's such a great story. It's such a great story.
It is. I just want to read it again. I love them so much.
We'll revisit them after we read I Want to Be Down.
Yes, I love them so much. I love just how sweet it is. So I could go on and on, but we'll continue.
No pressure.
Right. You don't have to write nothing else about them, because everything I need is in the book. I love them.
Well, somebody messaged me the other day. Now, Joa was never getting a book. I had nothing for Joa in any of the series. And
Joe of the
then
Hoa?
Joe, yep. Yeah, right. But all of Mr. Ollie's antipathy towards those big head Henry boys, I have it in me to let one of them big head Henry boys get one of his granddaughters. Ooh. And I think Mr. Ollie would just lose it. It would be crazy. So I'm playing with the idea of that now. So we might get an update on
interesting, because you know, I had a question for you just quickly about Nye. Whether is that his name? Nye. Yes. He's Keegan's, and he's Mr. Ollie's grandson, right?
Yes. Yep.
So you know, but I like that idea. The idea if Joe of the Hoa became reformed, I mean that's just sticking. Sorry, it just came to me in the conversation. And now Mr. Ollie has to come to Jesus about the fact that one of his granddaughters is being defiled. That's Mr. Ollie is just Mr. Ollie for mayor all day, every day. every day. Like every possible office. He's not the only sassy elder that you've had in your stories. You actually sassy elders, I think, is one of your like subspecialties.
Yes.
You have a particular talent for the sassy elders, but Mr. Ollie is king of the sassy elders. Nobody tops him. Nobody.
Definitely. Okay, well that's interesting. So no pressure on the other folks, but I think it sounds like some things are brewing. And I guess since we're talking about pressure, I'll go ahead and bring it up. Which is what I think people ask you every day, but it's apropos because you've been doing audiobooks. Have the Masons completely abandoned you?
I don't know.
That was like a grunt, a moan.
I don't know where they are at. I have gone to Laverne Renee's house. I have been everywhere. I cannot find them. Actually, I have a couple words into Sherrod's story. I tried. That was one of the ones I was going to try to do by Thanksgiving, because his story involves a woman who don't mess with family at all. Like if she meets a dude and he's like, I'm close to my family, I'm out. And well, obviously the Mason is the ultimate, close family. So I have that and I want to write that, but that is not working. I would love to write Simeon, because Simeon is another one whose energy just, it stands out to me in every book. It had all of the Mason books. I see Simeon. That's why his name comes up so much, but I can't think of anything. Taylor, I want to end the series with her. I want to give her a novel. The other two, I don't really care what it is, but I want to give her a novel because there are some things I need to get in with her. And we already know the guy who she's going to be with. He's from another series. So I hope they don't abandon me. I'm going to try very hard to get them done this year. I'm going to push myself.
Well, but the beauty of it is, if it doesn't happen, in 2023, there's always 2024. You know, it's this time.
Right.
You know, since you mentioned HP, since you kind of mentioned the audiobooks, because Ashley, I had a couple of questions on that particular, because Chad, you've been busy.
I have not been busy. If it were up to AshleyNicole, whatever my last name is, Ashley wouldn't have any audiobooks. I do not like them.
Okay, so then I'm glad you said that. So why, why these?
Yeah, the publisher reached out to me. At this point, it's almost 2 years ago, and they did the same thing for Wait for Your Love back in the For Your Love series back in 2020. And I'm very particular, as far as audiobooks, because as the author, it's different listening to somebody else's. With those, it's the readers like inflections and the way they read bother me, right? You put emphasis on the wrong word and it drives me crazy. So I steer away from them. And for me, I know what these characters sound like. I know the cadence of the words, and nobody gets it. None of the narrators that I have get it. But the company reached out, and I understand that it is a medium that readers are really enjoying right now. It's exploding. So I don't love it, but as usual, I'm willing to give them what they want, and they chose the Mason series, and it's coming out. All of them should be done by the end of February. All of them will be out.
Wow, all of them will be out. Okay.
All the Masons?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Okay. And so, because I remember from our last conversation, the tech gods took away from us. I remember you had shared that you were not a fan of audio, and
yes.
you weren't sure that you would go there or go there. So imagine my surprise. I was like, wait,
right.
Because I follow you, so I get these updates from Audible and from Amazon. I was like, wait a minute, child, hold on. We got 3, 4, 5. What is going on here? I mean, it was pleasant surprises, of course, but I knew that was going to be one of the things that was like, we don't have an about face, a change of heart.
No, we did not. I know it's a very expensive process for one, but I've thought about doing it for Rook and Zenaida specifically. That you talk about a book that y'all go back to. I go back to Rook and Zenaida for some reason. I will reread that. I love that story. I don't know what I did, what I was on. I love them. So I've considered getting One Site and Smash Into You turned into audio, but I can't. I haven't heard anybody who would work as far as him yet.
Okay.
But it maybe one day.
Since you talked about it, I'm just going to take a moment and fangirl about Rook and because their hate you chemistry was so deliciously hilarious. And then the way you transition them into Smash Into You was beautifully done, because it didn't I wondered if it was going to lose right now that they were going to be together. It wasn't going to lose some of that spice. And no, they weren't like taking each other's heads off anymore, but it still had just enough kick, but it was also a very sweet story. And then of course, Max being like, I was like, girl, what is wrong with you? Like that, and the fact that, was it Analia that ends up beating up Max on Zenaida's behalf. But Rook was just he was just wonderful in every way. And I remember in particular the scene where Max she did the whole elaborate lie about getting pregnant, having the abortion, right? And so Zenaida's at her house. It was crazy, right? It was like, girl, you are touch.
She was giving like Maxine Shaw vibes, but like
psycho, right? That's who she was.
Yes. I was very much in a Living Single rerun right then, so that's where she came from for sure.
I suspect Erica Alexander would be offended on Max's behalf, because she was. There was never an indication that Maxine Shaw was dirty the way that this character Max was.
Not at all.
But like, so Rook goes over to Zenaida's house, right? Because he's like, she was supposed to be at my place, but she's not. Okay, he gets over there, and he's just like, I just want to go and like get in the bed with her and rub on her belly and whatever. And she's snapping at him, right? Yes. And he's kind of like, what? And he's like, listen. He's like, you have now become the place I come to for comfort. And I want that to continue, but I'm not going to stand here in front of you if you don't want me to be here and you're not willing to tell me what's going on. And look, I can't tell you why that scene just resonated so powerfully, but because it like reminded me that Rook was always straight, no chaser with her. But he was just kind of like, baby, like you have become my piece now, right? And I don't want to fight with you, but I'm also not just gonna be where I'm not wanted because you don't want to tell me what's going on. And I just loved everything. And then he's like, no, we're going to confront her right now. he's like, put your shoes on, let me get the umbrella, we're going right now. He never lost I think the things I loved about Rook when they were fighting with each other, he never lost those things, even while he became soft and pink for her, right? And it was, again, another one of those very seamless transitions where it's not like he became a completely different person, but they weren't still hurling, these cruel insults at each other, which were incredibly entertaining, by the way. I mean, just those insults were...
You sometimes you read books, right, and you see characters from books that had their own books, and they're different, right? They're no longer the characters that you read in the first book, and that is one thing. Outside of making sure that it's the content is relatable, I'm very serious about my characters staying true to who they are. And I've had characters who were enemies to lovers who did change once they got together. The bite left and all that, but these two, it was such vitriol that they had for each other growing up. It was a part of them. It was like they each had an organ that was like hate Zenaida, hate Rook, and it's not getting removed. So it was very important for them to keep that, while drifting into each other, because once she realized that it's like, I don't love him. Yes, you do. I don't love him, but I'm gonna go be up under him. And even in my last book, Hot Box, Rook was in there, and they were like, "Oh, you gonna marry her?" And he's like, "Hell no, what?
Right?
You gonna leave her? No, she's my world." Like I love that.
You know who that reminds me of, Ashley? Another one of my go-to, one of your older, Elevate Me. Because Shy and Naya, is that her name?
Yes. Yep.
Naya. Shy was also, you made that comment earlier in the discussion about when you had this thing from Mean Men.
Mean Men, yes.
Right. And she, look, Naya in the bitch, she absolutely deserved it. But even when Shy, is developing feelings for her, he doesn't go completely soft either, right? He becomes a little more tender, but he doesn't go completely soft. And I think that may be one of the reasons why I continue to love the two of them and that story as well. Because he still has that bite to him, even while he is falling for her. And there's a fine line between having the bite and being cruel, right? They're never cruel.
Yes.
But I'm not sure what it says about us that we enjoy these men that have.
Well, that's what I said.
You're right. It might have to have a therapy session with HP afterwards.
It's a kink. It happens all the time.
Through. So let me just one more question on the audiobook thing, just before I forget. So, for you, is the once they're done with the Masons, at that point, you're not done forever, but you don't have any plans to kind of then delve into
unless
others.
They come to me asking for something else. No, that's it.
Okay. And it's possible that if you hear the right male narrator voice, I'm filing this away as an action item. Just confirming.
Well, I have. I might have lied. I have. Have you? I can't think of his name. Something Washington.
Miles Washington.
Yes.
I'm
a Northerner, obviously, and it is very important for my characters to have my accent, and none of them in the audiobooks that I have it. I heard him. I listened to the Raji book, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's from up north!" So one day I might reach out to him, and then work on a girl. But it's maybe, but.
Hope has been offered, folks. Love happens to really love him as a narrator too. I've heard her say she really, really likes him as a narrator. Now I'm going to cross my fingers that works out, and I respect that. I respect that you want voices that are as close to how you've heard them in your head. I suspect that's why Love may never do the Ezra series in audio, right? Because
she said that on
she would have to get a pastor to do it. Like you have to have that cadence.
Right.
And it's also the way she's described his voice, right? It's raspy kind of like it's got to be a certain way. And
it's Noel Jones. If she can get the bishop to do it.
Absolutely.
But that's, like without the accent, he is giving like Noel Jones a little bit. And there are some others who, would fall into that category. But you have to either have had that cadence or grew up hearing it, because it would be impossible to just walk into it as an actor with no church reference, Black church reference.
So tell me, you mentioned listening to Raji's story. By the way, I am Raji and Winter's sister wife.
I did hear that.
FYI, we're very happy in our throuple. But now let me ask you this: for other authors and stories, do you enjoy listening to audiobooks when you're decompressing and you're kind of relaxing? No. Okay.
No, I plan to reread Raji. But I have an issue rereading people's books, because once I know it, the allure has kind of left it. But turning on an audiobook, and if I do listen to an audiobook, it is only a book that I've already read, because I don't pay attention if it's new stuff. So I think I was meal prepping and I turned it on because I had credits, and it just was me reacquainting myself with the story more so than enjoying the audio part of it.
Okay. If you would like me to give you like a personal session of refreshing you on the Love and Rhythm and Blues series, I would be happy to do that.
Okay.
Just FYI, because I love you that much. I would do that for you. But like, and on page 12,
right,
here's what happened, right?
Wait, have you listened to the Black series, or have you read the Black series?
I have not, but you got my mother turned on to that.
Okay, what did she think? Because the audio is perfect and the book is perfect.
It really
I don't think she listened. I'm sorry, she read it.
She read it. Okay.
I'll tell her to listen for sure. I'm sure she will.
I will say that, and we've spoken to Joan Bassett, because so I turned HP onto it.
Yep.
And HP then became like president of Joan Bassett's
I lived
fan
there.
club.
I'm never gonna leave it.
Stalking the woman and all kinds of things.
I appreciate you for that, because that was right around time I was getting stalked. So I think that took the heat off of me. So I appreciate it.
Oh no, don't worry. I'm coming back because I have to read Gravity and I have to read this one that's coming out. Don't worry.
Seriously, so she's gearing up for you. But I agree with HP. It's definitely worth reading or listening, because I think the way that Joan presents us in a time of slavery, like we all have baggage when it comes to that, Ashley. And so I avoided that series for several years when people in different book groups were like, oh my God, amazing. And I was like, ain't nothing amazing about reading about us in slavery. I'm sorry. And I was categorically proven wrong. She paints, I think, stories like this, if there were more stories like this about the folks who got to freedom and then kept coming back and built thriving communities. We know that existed, but that story has never been highlighted. It's never been told, right? The ones that escaped to Canada and built lives. They were the exceptions, but we know that the exceptions existed. Their stories just have not been told. And even though the Black series is fiction, Joan did a ton of research on it. So she wasn't just pulling this out of the air, but it's beautifully done. And so if you continue to be on the fence, I think it is absolutely worth giving it a chance and just seeing what calls to you. I think you would enjoy it.
I'll give it a shot.
Child, you might end up writing some historical, people are cracking all kinds of inappropriate jokes. And, it's like AshleyNicole comes to slavery.
I considered for a very, very brief moment writing Mr. Ali's story. But he's 90 years old in the South, and kind of the same way. I don't know, and obviously it happened because all of us have ancestors and all that. Writing, in that time of Jim Crow and all that stuff, and trying to make it romantic, I don't know about my heart in that. So maybe once I'm older, I still consider myself a little toddler author. So maybe once I grow, but I've considered it.
Because just in the tiny pieces that you've had Mr. Ali share about his story, we know a couple of things, right? We know that Mr. Ali, loved a woman but allowed his mother to run her off. We know that Mr. Ali did some hoing.
Yes, he did.
And was like, listen, he said, I was slinging my snake all over. I said, oh, Mr. Ali, I can't, sir. I can't, right? I can't. And then had, ultimately settled down with a local girl and seemed to have a happy marriage, but there was also, some regrets there about things that weren't handled the right way. But then he said something like, what did he say? I married her and then she left me here with all these badass kids, or something like badass kids and grandkids. That could be, oh my goodness. See, now, you can't be putting these things out here and be whetting my appetite. Now I'm gonna have to stalk. See, instead of getting rid of a stalker, you didn't gain one. Congratulations. Congratulations.
What are you excited to write this year? Is there anything that's like, oh, I can't wait to get to that?
No. I don't know going right now. So I'm still in.
So you don't have like a list?
I have a list, but it never works out for me. So
that's valid. Mine does not.
I don't know. There is no, there's nothing that I'm excited about. Hopefully I'll get excited when I find it, but right now, no.
Okay. So now you're done with this project and you don't have another one chomping at the bit.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No.
How does that feel? Is that scary or is that typical or?
No, because so I have myself on a schedule. I'm trying to put myself on a schedule this year, like every 6 weeks kind of thing. So it's not quote unquote monthly. It's giving me a little grace period. So I write fast. In all actuality, I started this, like I said, on December 7th. And, you know, I'm finishing it today, tomorrow, whenever. But the actual days of writing was less than 2 full weeks. In between, I was playing. I write very fast.
Okay.
So no, it takes probably 3 to 4 months before I get worried.
Okay. Okay.
And Ashley, how long is the ballpark? How long is I Want to Be Down? How many pages?
I don't write in pages. I don't know.
Okay.
But let me see. Gravity was 68K. It's going to be about 70, 72. So very close.
Okay.
A mid-size novel, I'll say.
Okay. Because one of the other things that we noticed when we had talked about the books that of yours that we read, and then you know, we spoke to you whenever that was how efficient you are as a writer. That for the most part, your books are not 300 pages, right? So your point again about Take Me to Church is well taken, because Take Me to Church is like 330 something pages.
Yeah.
And I only know that because in the Kindle, right, it'll tell you page 1 of whatever. But for the most part, you tend to hover in the 200s, but like sometimes you go below the 200s and it is still a full-fledged, right? You've given everything, so that we only noticed the page count because we were coming together to talk about it, and then that was one of the points, but not because it was like, oh, this felt short. They never feel like your short stories, your novellas, even those, like you like do a drive-by smack and then keep going. Was it 2020 when you were dropping one like once a week? It was like okay. Then what was that series called? Not
that was 6 days in a row. That was my Nights Like This series.
Nights Like This. I knew Night was in there somewhere.
I want to do that again.
Okay. So I mean, listen, it was delicious.
Yes.
Because you just like, it was like, oh, it was like she's dropping something new. Oh my God.
It was supposed to be a anthology, and then I'm like, what is that? What's fun of that? Let's just drop these things every day.
Literally every day.
I'm thinking of doing that again, but I'm gonna try to challenge myself and do it and do more. Maybe like 9 to 10. Because those were easy. That was like a quick, I think I wrote each one of those in a day because it was one story. I didn't get tired of the characters and have to step away. I would just write, okay, the next day write, and you got them. It was so easy. So I would love to do that again.
I also happen to really love your cover art, just FYI, because they're never elaborate, but they're always perfect in my opinion. Like it is very nicely done. So just wanted to shout that out. But kind of going back to your efficiency as a writer, like I understand you kind of do word count. Yes, y'all authors, because you start 25,000 words, and I'm like, what does that mean? How many pages is that? I don't understand what that means, right? Because you count like the adverbs and like, I don't know what that means. But have you had a time where it's like you were either getting to the end or you're in it and you're like this doesn't feel? I've heard you say it doesn't feel right. Have you ever had a moment where you were like, this is not enough or this is too much?
No.
Okay.
Well, again, Take Me to Church was too much. There's never a point where I say it's not enough. I go into it with a list of things I want to hit. As long as I hit it, regardless of how people feel about the page count, it's done to me.
Got it.
But sometimes you get to a point where I want to be done. Even this one, I had it clocked for 60K. And here I am closing in on 70. I'm getting tired of it. So yes, there's a point where I'm like, actually, you have to stop. But if the story's not done, then it's not done.
And so can I ask a follow-up to that? Have you, to that end, it sounds like you don't typically have things that end up on the cutting room floor then?
No, I am not one of those. We talked about that in the Right Club before HP. I don't cut anything. I've never gone through and cut an entire scene or just something. No, I find a way to adapt it to the rest of it. And kind of firm it up so it makes sense. I do not take anything out.
Yeah, that's wonderful for you.
Because this one I'm sure you know better than I do. Deleting entire books. Oh, I just deleted 50,000 words. What are you?
It don't feel good. I got to.
We had that response when we heard that. We were having a conversation about how we edit, and she's like, "What do you mean we like a draft? What's a draft? You put out the first thing you write."
And I'm like, no, you don't understand.
Should I delete 30 versions of it before I put the 31st version out?
No. I'll start over as many times as I have to until I'll be like, okay, this is what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Her mind sounds like a scary place, doesn't it?
It's terrifying. Trust me. No one should enter. No one. It's not a safe place whatsoever. Okay, so Just a Friend. You have been on Adrian still mad. You have been on an upward incline for sure, but I think Just a Friend was like an explosion.
Yes.
And so what has it been like writing after that? Does it feel the same? Like, how are you, like, with all the new readers? Like, what has that been like?
Right. It's daunting. Because Just a Friend, to me, feels like everything else I've written. You know, it was the same comedy. It was not the same characters, but it was AshleyNicole. It wasn't like
it was in your wheelhouse.
Been in one room and switched to another. It was me. Just a Friend shocked the shit out of me. I was watching the reviews climb, and I'm like, well, what did I put into this book? What did we do? Who is it? Who said it? And then that's why there was a long break between Just a Friend and Gravity, because, and we talked about this, it's the trying to chase that. So it's like, how do I come up with something after that, especially when I don't know what I did to make it as popular as it is. And then Gravity came out, and if I thought it was bad after Just a Friend, Gravity damn near ruined me, because you get all of these new people and they come in. I'm a reader who, if I find an author and somebody says read this book, I won't read that book. I have to go back and read the first one so I can read the whole catalog. But everybody's not like that. So they'll come in on Gravity, and then my fear becomes, now you think this is my wheelhouse, and Gravity is not my wheelhouse. So it's a little more stressful writing since those two. And then you have Take Me to Church, which wasn't as big as those two, but it was up there. And it can be stressful. And I think that's part of the reason that I take these breaks, because I'm a lot more discerning with the ideas that I decide to take on now, where before, if it came to me, I wrote it and it went out regardless. And now I'm like, will this fit me? Will this not fit me?
Interesting. So,
Let me tell you something. This is a message to the listeners. Don't y'all be getting in my boo's head. Okay? Don't y'all be getting in my baby's head. You keep doing what you've been doing. You keep the voices in your head. You keep these external voices out your head.
Right.
I'm having a hard time with that, because that's so not like you. So what do you think changed for you, like personality wise, to be more sensitive to it?
Well, I'm old now, so
well, that's true.
That.
Excuse me. I think I may be older than you, so excuse me, please.
I don't know. You're right. It wasn't me. And I think it goes back to that whole being in your own way. It's another way. It's another. I need to get out of my own way and stop thinking like that. Write what I want to, or it could be my tastes have changed as well, as far as what I want to read. So obviously that reflects on what I want to write. And I think I've been saying this for a couple of years. The cookie cutter, fall in love, break up, back together, it's not working for me anymore. It does nothing for my attention span. And I don't really want to write it anymore. That's why I occasionally stick my foot into romantic suspense because there's a darkness in there that I love, because it's not just romance. It's a way we like to act like, love happens perfectly every time, and it's sweet. We don't need anything else with it, but it doesn't. I need more with my love than just a glass of milk and some cereal. So it just could be that my tastes are changing as well. And
where do you think you're going? Like, where do you feel like you're headed?
I'm always gonna be a romance girl because it's where I started, but paranormal romance really, really is pulling at me.
Okay.
I probably would love to stay in the romantic suspense a little more. I came up on Maureen Smith and those books just they're like the blueprint for what I would like to do. So maybe kind of go towards those more.
Okay. So this is interesting, and I might have to hold you after we finish recording,
yeah.
Because I am finding that, so there's one story that I know it just won't leave me alone. There's nothing I can do about it. I've started thinking about it. I may have maybe written about 2,000 words. This is what's the people's name? I just wrote.
Are we supposed to know? Like,
no, I'm talking to myself. Don't worry about me.
Out loud.
Richard and Allison. So this will be book 5 in the Phillips family. So I know for sure. But I agree with you that even if not forever, for a period of time, the beats of how a romance goes, like in the writing of it, can be very boring.
Yes.
There's the meet cute, there's the 3 dates, there's the, falling in love, you have sex, then you make
3
up,
times.
then you break 3, gotta have sex 3 times. Then you break up, and the third act break up, and then the makeup. And it doesn't matter how entertaining the other elements are. Sometimes as a writer, it's still a slog to get through because it's the same every time.
Exactly. And even when you don't do the 3-act breakup, for me, it's a struggle because, okay, so what do I have them do? We are programmed for they get together. That's the end of it, unless you write a little prologue. If they're together and there's no issues, what do I do?
Right.
How many times can they go out to eat?
Right.
So, it's troublesome.
It is. And then there's like, there's just, the middle is particularly challenging, especially if you're not writing like super problematic characters. So you end up doing a whole lot with the people around them just to make it interesting. But if you're conscious of doing that, it's like, all right, well, let me just get this shit out of the way, And so,
and then you get messages like, I didn't really care about what her best friend or her cousins were doing. So it's such a fine line we have to walk.
Yes, that's for sure. So one thing I've been entertaining is more erotica, which for me is not my typical. I don't typically do sex first, so I've been entertaining that. I have 2 ideas for like little tiny 3-book things that might be something. We'll see, child, because for me, there's no way to know if I'm actually right or not. but it's interesting to hear you say, only because I haven't heard many authors like admit that the writing in this format is so predictable, and it can get, I don't know if draining is the right word, but definitely like, all right.
Well, I think boring. Just like the reader is like, it's boring. I can anticipate it. It's boring for us.
Yeah.
Well, it hasn't been boring for me. Speaking as only a reader, okay? Since the 2 writers, considering that you're at your 50th, and like I said, I've read 48 of the 50. It has never felt cookie cutter ever.
Thank you.
Your stuff does not feel like copy and paste. I've never read your stuff and been like, oh, this is so and so and so and so. Just he does this for a living and she does that for a living, and the best friend's name is this instead of that. It's never felt that way. Even with the Masons, which I think is probably I would imagine has to require a little bit more self-awareness and care, right? Because it's a family. And so there's certain things, and we talked about this with Alexandria House, right? HP, of when you choose to do a family and you give everyone, and we're talking about the McLean series, right? 5 siblings each getting a story. It's like there are the similarities that you've already teed up for us because they're family, but then making sure that each one has a distinct voice and a distinct journey, so that it didn't feel like first it was Neil and now we wash, rinse, repeat with Leland, wash, rinse, repeat. And the same thing with you and the Masons, right? That I didn't, even with the triplets, right? Because you decided to make it even more complicated by having the family have some triplets. And it was like, well, you know, she just decided. So I can appreciate what you all are saying about the labor that goes into it, which makes me just, I think, appreciate you all that much more, because as the reader, that I'm not feeling that way. And I've definitely read others where I kind of felt like, this feels just like. Right. So it's clearly not as easy as you all make it seem when it's done right, that it presents differently. It presents like a new story each time. So I'm sorry that y'all suffer, but you know, every life gonna have some sunshine and rain, child, and that's how it goes. Sorry. You know, we all got our cross the band. I guess this is one of y'all's.
Why are you like this?
Because.
All right. AG, do you have any? I have one final question, but maybe that can be our closeout question because it's so silly. Do you have any other books you want to talk about? Questions, comments?
No, I just, you know, I love you.
I do too.
I love your work, and just keep doing what you're doing, and you know, growing and thriving. I will see you at Behind the Pen. I'm excited.
I will be there
that you'll be there. And why don't you, I guess, before, you know, HP, before you go into your question, because Ashley, I know you're doing a couple of events this year.
Oh yeah, please
go ahead and tell us where else you're going to be.
I will be around all year. I will be in New Orleans for Crew of Lit on March 24th, I believe. Let me just check the date.
Very nice.
I have a wedding the day before in Birmingham, and then I'm flying down there. 25th, I'm sorry, Saturday, March 25th, I will be in New Orleans at Crew of Lit. I will be at the house party in Atlanta in the end of July. I believe that's July 29th. I will also be at Behind the Pen in New York, and I think that's April 12th. And other than that, I'll be at home.
I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna come to Behind the Pen. I should. It's the closest of all.
Excuse me. Excuse me, Ashley, turn your ears off, because we're about to have a fight here. Excuse me? What do you mean you're trying to decide?
I made up my mind.
You are coming to Behind the Pen.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because we've got to get like matching t-shirts or something. Hello.
Now that would make it worth it, the matching t-shirts. Okay, like, we'll get ourselves together.
Exactly.
I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel like getting a car, but it's the closest of all of them. So
exactly. So bring yourself on and have
to me. Yeah, all right, I'll be there. I'll buy my ticket.
Ridiculous. She's so ridiculous.
I'll be trying to lay down. It's too much going on.
Well, lay down now in preparation for
exactly. You got plenty of time. Knock it off. Good grief. You see what I contend with? You see what she is one of my crosses to bear.
And I'm sorry.
I am the best thing to ever. There's only I'll give you 3 of the best things, and I am number 4. Okay?
Do you hear this?
To ever happen to you.
Certainly not lacking in the self-esteem and an abundance of delusion on top of that.
I don't have a problem with it. It feels true to me. Okay, so this is a silly question, so you can pass on it, but I thought it was funny to ask. And I don't even have answers for my own characters, so if you pass, I'll understand. Fuck, marry, kill for your heroes.
Kill for my heroes? Are you out of your mind?
Okay, fuck, marry, push down the stairs.
Okay, wait. I gotta write this down.
She pivoted a little too quickly on that. Do you see how quickly she had that in her back pocket? Michael better watch out, y'all. You better watch out. Because
marry, he will forever be the center of my male universe. Jason Rivers is perfection to me. He is I love him.
And Jason Rivers, just for those who don't know, which one is that?
My God, no.
I'm sorry.
Oh wait, I'm looking at the cover right now. It's Mine to Have.
Mine to Have. Okay.
Mine to Have. He's the hero on that.
He's Detective Jason Rivers, ain't he?
He's Detective Jason Rivers, and he is ridiculous. FUCK, because I know my mama gonna listen to this.
It's hilarious. Hi, Mama.
Streets, actually.
Okay.
Streets from Love in the Streets.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
And then push down the stairs, and I will only push him so that he breaks a leg, and then he can be convalescing in my house, handcuffed. Is
sound like Misery. What?
No. I would probably commit a few felonies on him.
It's getting even more colorful as she continues to go.
You know what? You guys have to read them so you won't understand. But Cass, from Gravity, I would. Okay. He's perfect, and when y'all read him, you'll know he's perfect. My God.
Is he more perfect than Tris?
No one's more perfect than Tris.
No, they're equal.
Ooh.
Okay.
They're equal, actually. Thinking about them as characters, that's very funny for you to pull him out the way. They're very much alike in their need to take care of folks. So they're equal. So wait, I'll add Tris too. I'll commit double felony.
wait. Tris got to get pushed down the steps so you can violate him in the privacy of your own home.
That's her plan.
Yes. Well, he lives in the basement, so it's not a far push.
You know what? That's true. Push him down the back steps so he twists his ankle and can't walk for a couple weeks. Okay. I will accept that. I will accept that on behalf of Tris, because Tris is one of our boo-boos. So
yes.
Okay, that was very entertaining. So I'm going to revisit Love in the Streets and Mine to Have. I remember them, but I'm going to revisit them just because it's been a while. Okay, well, this was good. Thank you so much for coming back and for kind of redoing this. And then our exclusive pre-release information.
Yes.
This was good. I'm excited. So I'm going to watch Amazon, and then the moment it is live, I'm going to push this forward.
I'm going to work real late tomorrow because just so I can get it out. Because right now, somebody's stuck with their pants down, so they've been stuck for like 3 days now. You know how I leave my characters frozen, and he probably has a cold, but it's all right.
Stuck with his pants down. FYI, if you are in the market for a beta, I volunteer as tribute for the future. Just putting that out there.
I've never used betas because I'm very sensitive. So if you read it and then you're like, I don't like it, I won't put it out.
That's not what she does, though. You should use her. What she'll say is like, how did you get here? Is there another way? Or like she'll say like, this may not line up with what you were intending. Tell me what you were intending.
See,
I like that. I will definitely keep in mind as I probably pivot to whatever my new kind of way is going to be. That'll be very helpful.
You just heard why we stay married, despite the fact that it's clearly a toxic marriage. Because when I need her, she show up for me. So that's why she's my boo, and I'm gonna stick beside her.
Yeah, she's very good.
We stay in divorce court, showing out.
That's understandable.
But we gonna stay together forever.
It's not me, it's her.
Of course.
That sounds like somebody who is the problem.
Exactly. It's heavy on delusion, child. Heavy on delusion. But that's my boo.
How do I get out of this Zoom? Anyway, thank y'all so much for listening. Go out and pick up I Want to Be Down by AshleyNicole. By the time you're hearing this, it will already be out. And I'm going to make it my homework to get to Gravity before the middle of this year. I probably should try to read it before Behind the Pen so I can kick out the leg of your chair.
Well, my mother will be with us. So just understand, I got people.
Wait. I will distract Mama so that you can do what you have to do. We're a team, Ashley. You see,
because if Gravity is doing what people are saying is doing, some harm is going to be required. But I'll see.
It's doing it. Angelique, who she is very calm, regular person. She read it and she sent me a message like, "Ashley, fuck you for real."
So what I'm hearing is that we will have to schedule a private therapy session with you at Behind the Pen. We're like, folks, she's taking a break because we need to go sob in the corner and she needs to make it right. Okay, that's what I'm hearing.
Now we have a plan. Wonderful.
Yes.
It was wonderful talking to you ladies. We will talk
as well.
Bye.
Love you, Ashley.
Love you too.